Last video gave you a bunch of names of the living God. One name I left out, Jehovah Rapha, means the Lord who heals, the Lord my healer. And it's true, he does heal. He heals physically, he heals mentally, he heals spiritually, he heals things that are completely broken. An example, my grandpa, probably a couple decades ago, he was working on a car, radiator hose or something exploded underneath the car, literally burned the skin right off his forehead. The doctor said it was going to be months to heal, and you know, my grandma puts him on the prayer chain. They wrap his head in bandages. One day he says it's itching really bad. He goes into the bathroom. My grandma hears him weeping. She goes in the bathroom. Brand new skin on his forehead, like it never even happened. God's a healer. He works miracles. He could do stuff like that. There's no limits on God. Just another example, just even recently. A lady in my church, she's in her 50s. She had an oxygen tank, you know, with her all the time to breathe on a normal basis. My grandmother laid hands on her and prayed over her. Now she doesn't need the oxygen tank. I mean, how is it possible? How is it possible? Because God's an amazing healing God. Healing that I've witnessed firsthand in my own life. He's healed me mentally and spiritually, healed this broken mind, healed this broken heart. He's restored it. Where there was no peace, now there's incredible peace. Where there was anger, now there's joy. Where there was hatred, now there's love. He does a 360 on the flesh. That's just what he does. 1 Kings 8th chapter, 22nd verse. Then Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in front of the whole assembly of Israel, spread out his hands toward heaven and said, Lord, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth below. You who keep your covenant of love with your servants who continue wholeheartedly in your way. There is no God like God. There's a song, there's no God like Jehovah. There's no God like Jehovah. And it's true. There's no God like Jehovah. He's the only God. The living God. He lives. He's a living God. A breathing God. A God with eyes. A God with a heart. A God with a mind. A God with hands. And he manifested himself on the earth. Came to this little tiny earth that he created. Walked and lived a perfect life on it. And literally let sinners and evil men put nails in his hands and in his feet to bear the sins of you and I. Unfathomable. Unfathomable. Jeremiah 17:7 through 10. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when the heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought. It never fails to bear fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. I, God Almighty, search the heart and examine the mind. He searches your heart and examines your mind. He searches my heart and examines my mind. He doesn't care what the outside looks like. He doesn't care about the outside appearance and the makeup and the clothing. He looks at the heart and the mind. And some of us have let God work on our hearts and mind because before we knew him, they were in a nasty, ugly place, filled with greed, filled with lust, filled with lies, filled with deception, filled with hatred, filled with anger, filled with all these things that are against God, filled with maybe fear. And God fills it with something else. He fills your heart and mind with something else. He fills it with peace. He fills it with joy. He fills it with love, an incredible love. A love that's so strong that you could even love your enemies. Galatians 5:22, the fruits of the Spirit are peace, love, joy, patience, goodness, faithfulness, kindness, self-control. Some of us are lacking to bear these fruit because we don't spend enough time with God. We're not really serious about God. We might pray to Him here and there, go to church, but we're not really walking with God and having this daily one-on-one relationship with. Some of us are bearing the fruit, and I see it in some people's lives. But other people's lives, I see the anger and the hatred and the bitterness and, just the things that are pouring out of our mouths. It's just we got to be careful, we can't portray God in a bad light, because people are going to look at your life on the outside and be, all right, he's a Christian. Well, why is he still letting that thing come off his tongue? Why is he still acting like that? Why is he doing these things? We need to let God work on our hearts and mind. Without it, we have no direction. We have no fruit. Jesus said, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Now, some of us have been through a lot. We've been through hurt, pain. People have done things against us. I know I've done wrong. People have done wrong against me. You can't dwell on the past. You have to keep your eyes on Christ, the now and the future. Forget the past. Drop the past. Put your eyes on Him. Let this relationship with the living God grow. Don't let it be a 2-minute prayer. That is not what God desires. He wants a daily walk with Him. He wants you to bear this peace, this love, this joy, this patience, so people can see on the outside you are a follower of Christ. The pain that we hold inside, if we don't let God remove it, it's only going to grow, and it's just going to... Nobody wants to hold on to pain. I know I didn't want to hold on to that pain, so I let God work on me. God is near to the brokenhearted. I forget the exact verse. I think it says He heals their wounds, something along those lines. God is a healer. He's a healer. He heals things that are broken. And once you're healed, you won't even be the same person anymore. That bitterness, that anger, that hatred, that unforgiveness, all those things that we have kept inside will be released, and God will put something brand new on the inside that will have you smiling from ear to ear. This joy is inexpressible. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, it's too much. It's unbearable. Who doesn't want a joy like that? Who doesn't want a love like that? Here's a testimony of a man who had leprosy. He had leprosy. He was dirty. He was unclean. A man with leprosy came to him, being Jesus. He came to Jesus and begged Him on his knees, "If you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus was indignant, meaning Jesus was filled with compassion. He reached out His hand, touched the man. "I am willing," He said. "Be clean." Immediately the leprosy left him and he was cleansed. Leprosy. Leprosy left him. And Jesus is willing to heal and cleanse you and I on a daily basis if we ever let this dirt come back to us. Or maybe some of us haven't let this dirt come off us yet. Jesus wants to make you clean. Let him make you clean. Be like that diamond in the rough. It had dirt all over it. He cleaned it off. Now you're shining like a diamond. Let him clean you up. Let him clean that mind. Let him clean that heart. Let him clean that tongue. Watch and see what God does through your life when you let him do a work inside you. He's the King of Kings.